Hello, my name is Dominic Underhall and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. So for the last few, we've been trying out our new list, which is based on sort of movement speed and AoE attacks. So, movement antics, I suppose, not speed. Including things like pulling, pushing, moving people around, making them immobile, basically keeping them exactly where we want to be. So that's been really fun. However, I'm now going to go and do a completely new list again. So we've tried two of the different commanders. Captains rather, and we haven't made our own Extilior list yet. We've obviously got the nuts and bolts one here, but we're going to be trying to make our own Extilior one, and we're going to look at maybe doing like a melee focused one. But I've had a few ideas about this. So melee focus seems to be very difficult. It seems to be very prone to being kited. So what we want is a few things to synergize well with that. Also, I've only just realised, that's the wrong button. All of these little images here are Maximus, who is our fun little zippy round friend. So I like the idea that you've just got 10 little Maximus icons around Extilior. So to remind us of Extilior, we know that basically his effect is he's got a 3 damage AoE around him for 2 Cinder, and he also reduces the next damage to a unit by 1 with Shield of Hope. But when a random ally within range gains Shield of Hope when a rival is destroyed. So that's something we want to be looking at, is just being fairly aggressive with it. But some of the the best things to do on this front is we're going to be looking through, and we've got a few ideas of how to make the most of this. We never did get to draw Quani Thicket actually on the other list, but we've still got it here. So the first one we're doing is Quetzali. So we've played against Quetzali, and so whenever an ally in range has depleted movement, refresh it 5 times per turn. And that means that you don't only just, if something stops in there, you get to go again. It means that you can actually use it multiple times. You can move the same character 5 times if you needed to. So that's going to help prevent some of the kiting shenanigans going on. I'm starting to understand why this exists as well. To go back onto another one, we've got Jailbreak. So Jailbreak, touching rivals are immobilized. So what this is going to do is, if we can get into range of someone, we're going to keep hold of them and just stick there and basically stop them from escaping from us, let our other melee characters speed up. Then other ones, you can see I'm getting slightly quicker at this and sort of understanding what we want. We're going to take Crankbait. So I'm not a big fan of Crankbait in general, but pulling people towards you is going to be necessary in this sort of situation anyway. And then we get to some of the more interesting ones. So we were looking at Snareling. So I know we said we're doing a melee list, but making someone immobile is so powerful, and Snareling has been probably my MVP in the other melee matchups. So if we're in a melee versus melee, we can say keep their key units out of place, and we can move with ours and leave theirs there. So the movement shenanigans, I think, are going to be important. Now, I'm really tempted by Blindsider Estli. However, fast, it can be really fast, can hit hard, but it's only when you have no Cinder. And I think spending Cinder is going to be something that we're not necessarily going to have an easy time of doing. So that's something to consider, but I'm not sure sort of where that's going to sit on that front. So we have got things like Tipu. When it hits something, it permanently gains an attack and a health. I really like the look of Tipu, especially with other movement shenanigans. So, for instance, if we hit something with Tipu, deal our damage, but then we can crankbait it away or move in with Jailbreak and then move Tipu away, or even use our multiple movement phases, we can start stacking this up quite nicely. So I want to try Tipu. And then I had a couple of ideas, but I need to remember who they were now, because there's a lot of options here. And so Toxoid's 1. It's melee, but it's poison at the end of your turn. Restores 1 health at the end of its turn, but it deals poison damage, reducing its health to 1. So I'm considering Toxoid. I'm going to put it in for now, although that might be a cut because of using Quetzali to just run in and run out again, which would be quite nice. Amplifier Vital, so allies in range have +1 attack. So I think this works better in a range list, even though it's a melee character. So I'm not going to rush into Vital for now. Antios Gauntlet was +3 attack and first strike this turn, so he can use that Cinder to get to 4 damage on there. But there was someone who gave us Pummel, I believe it's called. So that's who I'm trying to remember what their name was for at the moment. Fate Twisted Tanton wasn't anything, it didn't have damage, did it? No, it made sure attacks can't miss or enemies can't hit, which I really like, but I don't think that's it. Nicotel, return ally to the bridge and fully restore it. So that's an interesting one. It's fast as well, but I don't really know. I haven't figured out the proper synergies for that yet. I think Peacemaker Balam's the healer. Oh no, stun a rival crew member. That was it. So this might actually be something we consider as well. Savria Safeguard. Melee. Reduce next damage unit to 0. Yes, so this is going in. Because we don't want to be just getting kited out and taken out. Torian Guardian is... nearest ally in range of 40% harder to hit, so again, this is almost an auto take here because it's going to be so good when we're trying to sort of get up close. Where is this? Oh, is this the bottom now? Okay. So, who was it that we were thinking of? It wasn't Richard Backfire, Maximus Fury, Fire Lancer. I don't think it was Tony was the one that launches the bombs. Drum Dancer? Yeah, here we go. Drum Dancer Tiali? I think it's Tiali. Yeah, Drum Dancer Tiali. So that's going to come in. And we've got one pick left. So the Enforcer is, when it attacks, it damages all units in a line behind the target. So that will be potentially very good. Antios Gauntlet again with the first strike could be good. I'm also really tempted to try out Blindsider, because that ability to just go fast and also be able to do all the extra movement shenanigans seems ridiculous. But what I'm going to do before anything else is I'm going to look through it and see what our Cinder expenditure is like. So none of these use any Cinder, and realistically not much is used here either. So I think Extilior might be a bad choice because we're not going to be able to consistently go down to none. So I mean, I wish here we could sort by melee and range and that sort of thing. So if we look at these, we know all of these are being left. We could do Neck Divine, just heal everything. That could be useful in this sort of situation as well. Target Arsenal was... oh yeah, it's the Rapid Fire one. So we've already got the melee equivalent. I don't think we want any of the stationary ones. Maximus Deadeye, Detonia... So it might be Chuck and Co. Chuck and Co is good. What was Beatrice again? I know, I just looked at this. That was the conical sort of, or like the damage everything in line behind it. Defense Dome was damage to allies in range is reduced by 1. So I think I'm somewhere between Beatrice, Antios, and Chuck and Co. Antios allows us to spend our Cinder, and he's a 1-drop character. So I mean that could be really useful for just getting a bit of consistency there. Chuck and Co is it 4-drop? But they are, so they can throw things away. Beatrice is a 2-drop. I think I want to try Antios, but then I'm going to look at these and see if there's anything I'd rather have. So I like this, I like this, I like this. These all seem good. You know what, this seems like fun to me. I think this looks like an entertaining list. We've spent enough time sort of putting it together, so let's give this a go and see what we can do from here. Oh, no, can't do that yet. We have forgotten some important things. So we're going to call this... what do we call it? Let's just give something... oh my goodness, I can't spell. Melee and move block. And then, most importantly, the banner. So we've got our new banner head. I think we've earned that here. Shape, so we're just going to go for something... we're running straight at people, but we're not fully tanky. Kind of like this for that, as like you're directly just running towards someone. And I want something that looks like speedy. I think this just, to me, just screams that you're just running straight at someone, basically. And that's exactly what we're doing. So, we can pick some random colours. I quite like that blue. What do we want with it? Can we go for like a vibrant red? What about any... See, I'm always drawn to more blues actually, so I'm going to pick something other than blue. Let's go for full neon just to pick it out. That yellow is intense. Let's go yellow and... oh, that is a disgustingly hard to see shade of green. I don't know what this means. This is just what we're doing. At some point we'll probably end up colour coding it, but it's like the Wolverine theory. We're just going to be running straight at someone, so let's see what happens. Like, make ourselves as obvious as possible. So here is our list. We're going to be giving it a go, seeing what happens. I'm looking forward to trying it out. I'm not really sure how it's going to work, because again, we've only got one... I mean, again, so the special minions is probably more apt than caster minions, because we talked about calling them casters before, but this doesn't cast anything. So, special minions is probably more appropriate. I feel like there needs to be something else, but... Okay, so... Again, we've not got much in terms of Cinder here, so that's to bear in mind when we're looking at our assists. We're not going to be taking anything with... Like, we wouldn't take the Cinder generation one, because I don't think we need it. And then that also makes things like Stowaway a little bit less important, because if we don't have any huge number of other uses for it, what's the point? I also think actually maybe Nectarvine would be good here. The reason I say Nectarvine, there you go, double Extilior. There you've got the animation back. But yeah, the reason I think that the Nectarvine would be good because it heals our speedy thing. So like here, this one at the bottom is not going to be that useful for us. However, Lifeline or Medical Recall, I think these are going to be very useful here. They're giving him vulnerable and potentially restoring allies to the bridge. These aren't the sort of things we wanted. We would have loved a Vortex here, or a Disruption, something like that. That would have been great. I want to see what level our opponent is, so if they're lower level, maybe they haven't got as much experience, but then again they might just playing the starter deck, which who knows could be significantly better than ours. They are level 0. Shandor? That might even be someone we played previously. So, we do have Drum Dancer Tiali. However, I need to remember how this game works. Move up as far as I can first, then deploy my character. So we haven't got a 2-drop, so there's a reasonable chance that we end up just giving her double strike and go for the punch, but honestly I think we're more likely to actually just hide and save her for future turns. I put her here just so we've got the option if we want to go aggressive, but we don't know if they've got loads of healing, if they've got other things going on. I wouldn't be surprised to see them use that on themselves, although I don't think that's the right choice. I'd like them to. If they want to shield and poke themselves, that's fine by me.
Focus on the win.
So, the question here is if I go here, they are going to hit me back. And then their range is currently... Oh, you have to hover C range, so they have got enough range at the moment. So I actually think we're going to come back here. Move... I want to check, yeah, so there's no way they can get in range from there unless they've got Stim, which is fine if they do. And then next turn we have 5, so we can potentially play Quetzali, although I think I'd rather just play Snareling out. Because Quetzali can be used without it needing to be out already. Okay, so they've got Stowaway. That's fine, so they're basically getting some free reinforcers. They're probably going to overwhelm us with units. I think Stowaway seems really good for quite an aggressive list if you want to get a lot of units out early on. We've got Medical Recall, which is not useful right now. Okay, yeah, so they can put something down in range of us. They can also move and do that, so I don't think this is too relevant. But let's see what comes out. They've gone for their Snareling as well, yes. So, they're onto the same plan as we are. I'm not sure we can actually get in range of that, but if we can, I will absolutely do so. I think that might be just about in base-to-base contact, and if that is the case, we'll be looking to Battle Frenzy first, and then just send Extilior over to deal with that. Because, frankly, I think that's more important than getting Snareling out right now. Because he does 2 damage base, make him attack twice, and then 3. Can we... We cannot get in base-to-base there. So in that case, what I'm going to do is... Snareling being 3 is quite difficult here, because I don't want it to be 3.
These paradoxes give pause.
But we need our Snareling out. So Snareling's going to come back here. We are going to come over here. Next turn at the moment we've got 6. If we spend this we'll have 4, so we can't play Quetzali out anyway. So I actually think we are just going to sort of Justice here. Take out some use, some damage, deal some damage over here. This does melee in both directions. And then does that mean this then doesn't? No, it still does. but then we could potentially medical recall. How far does he move? I keep forgetting to hover over.
Be fierce and fun.
I think this is it. I think this is what we do here. We have spent enough so that we can't use our ability next. Can't play Quetzali next turn. Okay, so they're going for increased damage. That is really bad news for us. Snarling could potentially immobilize us here, but then again we could get in for a lot of damage. I mean, we can't quite kill Snarling, can we? We need to spin and get a crit, basically. We are going to be making him indestructible next turn. Because that way, he can attack without any fear of retribution, we can give him the pummel ability, and hopefully even get into... This can't get into range, actually, come to think of it. But if they're placing another unit, that's kind of good for us if that's the case. I think we're in a situation where we need to decide what we want to do, because we need to reinforce, but we don't have the things that make reinforcing worthwhile here. So this is going to be a bit difficult because... Okay, yeah, reducing damage. Okay, so that's how they've spent their Cinder, and they're going to punch us, we punch back.
Calculate or contemplate.
I think we're probably able to get in range here, actually. And then Snarling is going to move... Oh, they ran out of time. That's not good for them. So we're going to indestructible here.
Victory's in your eyes.
We're going to move to here. Oh no, that should have moved further away. Battle Frenzy here. Oh well. We might kill our own character here, but it's fine.
You are a distraction.
Melee can't hit there, it can only hit here, but it's going to hit for additional damage. There we go. And then, what's our best shot against this? We need to get... Oh, so we've still got minus 11 every time. So we go for ranged attack here, see if we can take out 60% chance.
We will hold them off.
Melee... Ah, but that kills us. So then we'll medical recall.
Defend yourself.
Showtime!
There we go.
Always much to consider.
I think that's probably the correct choice here.
Hold your honor.
They've got... They can just play something down here. I think we might be losing. Oh, this isn't good, especially if something's coming around here. So we can do 6 damage to what we've got on the board, so we need a crit. Okay, so Tipu is not the unit that they want. I'm curious if they're going to attack here, because I don't know if they realise it. They maybe just go for Snarling. Because we could actually spin here, move away, ping, and stop Tipu getting any closer. I mean, that's fine. This is also fine. I think they're trying to get in range of both, but I don't think they're going to be able to. Okay. I'm okay with this, because I think we... How much was... Okay, this is great news. So, Sword of Justice is going to hit both. So we're going to spin here, deal with both.
Deadly.
Then we're going to come here and just smack him up a little bit. We will use 95% chance this succeeds. There we go, that's what we wanted. Charlie's going to come over. Let's put her over here, so we've got less ways for them to run. And then we are going to Shield of Hope ourselves, just so we don't die. Save one till next turn. I think we might have this. I think this might be a pretty swift victory. I was expecting them to put out more units, but they've been using their Cinder elsewhere. Mostly just on Sword of Justice, which I think given that we've had extra models in the battlefield, that was very hard to do. And the fact is that because he's the same model as us, he can't really move anywhere to stop us getting there unless he moves and then sticks something else behind him.
For justice.
So they need something with haste here. They need.
Always.
I don't think there's anything. I think. Yeah, I think we've got them. We've got 3 different ways of trying to deal 1 damage.
Calculate.
So I'm just going to Sword of Justice and call it a day. Brilliant. So I feel like their issue was basically we ended up in a board state where we had the advantage. We had the gradual progression. We knew that the game was slowly going in our favour, and for as long as they're spending their Cinder on resources and basically on things that don't change the board state, we don't have to change the board state either. So we don't need to invest in more units on the board because our units are already going to win the game in the current state. Even with things like the Corrosive Bile and things like that, we were in the in the driver's seat. So, excuse me, if they started playing other units out, I think we'd have been in a lot of trouble because they don't know that our 1 reinforcement wasn't very useful. And so I think that was where, basically assessing the board state matters. Something that I've had to learn to do in Warhammer 40k is that, if you're winning in terms of if your game plan and their game plan in this current trajectory is taking you to a victory, you don't need to change anything. You just need to keep consistent on that. They're the ones that need to then change that and find another way of adjusting the game state into their favour. So that was a really good example of that. I think it went really well. That was our first game with a brand new list, so I've really enjoyed that. I want to thank you all again for watching. It's been a lot of fun. Any tips, tricks, hints, anything that you want to let me know, feel free to pop it in the comments. And as always, every YouTuber, like, subscribe, all those things that make my day that little bit brighter. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a good day.